When my daughter-in-law told me to leave, I smiled instead of crying. It was one of those quiet afternoons in early fall, the kind where the leaves outside the window were just starting to turn gold, but the air inside felt heavy, like it was holding on to secrets. We'd been sitting in her small kitchen, the one with the blue tiles that she'd chosen because they reminded her of the ocean back home in Maine, and I was helping her fold a basket of fresh laundry while David rested in the next room, his leg still in that bulky cast from the fall at work. The tea I'd made for us both had gone cold on the table, steam long vanished, and the only sound was the soft rustle of cotton towels and the distant hum of the refrigerator. Sarah looked up from the folded shirt in her hands, her eyes meeting mine for just a second before she glanced away, her fingers pausing on the fabric. "Ellen," she said, her voice gentle but firm, like she was trying to wrap the words in kindness, "maybe it's best if you head home now. David needs his rest, and, well, we can manage from here." Those words landed soft, but they echoed in my chest, a quiet ache spreading slow, like water seeping into dry soil. I felt my throat tighten, the familiar pull of tears behind my eyes, but I pushed them down, deep, where they couldn't show. Instead, I smiled, wide and warm, the way I'd smiled through so many hard days before. "Of course, dear," I said, folding the last towel neat and square. "I'll call tomorrow to check on him." And then I stood, gathered my sweater from the chair back, leaned in to kiss her cheek, her skin cool against my lips, and walked out the door without a backward glance. Because if I'd glanced back, if I'd let my eyes linger on the hallway where David's crutches leaned against the wall, the tears might have started right there on her front step, and once they start, they have a way of flooding everything. That smile was my shield, thin as the autumn light filtering through the trees as I made my way to the car. I slid into the driver's seat, hands gripping the wheel a little too tight, and sat there for a moment, staring at the dashboard, where a photo of the three of us from the wedding day was tucked into the visor. David in his suit, Sarah radiant and white, me beaming between them like I belonged. The engine turned over with a low rumble, and I pulled out slow, the neighborhood houses blurring past, each one with its porch light coming on early against the fading day. The drive home took an hour, the highway stretching long and empty, radio off because every song seemed to twist the knife a little deeper. I replayed her words in my head, not with anger. No, Sarah was a good woman, strong and loving in ways that filled the gaps I'd left when raising David alone, but with a quiet confusion that settled heavy in my lap. Manage. As if the weeks I'd spent there, cooking his favorite chicken soup, helping him navigate the stairs on those first painful days after the accident, fluffing his pillows and sitting by his bed reading old stories from his childhood books, as if all that was just a visit, not the thread of family pulling me to them. I'd arrived the day after the hospital called, bag packed and 10 minutes flat, heart pounding as I sped to the city, imagining his pain, his need for me. 3 weeks I'd stayed, sleeping on their lumpy couch, waking to make coffee and eggs, whispering encouragements when the pain meds wore off and frustration set in. And now this gentle push out the door. I told myself it was natural, newlyweds carving their space, a mother-in-law hovering too long. But as the miles ticked by, that small voice inside, the one that's kept me steady through losses bigger than this, whispered something else. This wasn't just space, this was a softening away, a forgetting that had started long before the accident, back on that wedding day when the music faded and the guests left, leaving me with an empty chair at the table. I wiped my eyes at a stoplight, the red glow casting shadows on my hands, knuckles pale from gripping too hard. Forgetting. The word tasted bitter, like unsweetened tea. It wasn't dramatic, no slammed doors or harsh words exchanged over the years. David, my David, the boy I'd rocked through colic nights and cheered through school plays, the man who'd hugged me fierce on his wedding day. He hadn't forgotten me in cruelty. No, it was the slow kind, the kind that creeps in with busy lives and new priorities, where calls go unanswered and visits get postponed until the calendar fills up again. And in that quiet drift, I'd learned how absence can hurt deeper than any argument, leaving you adrift in memories that feel more like ghosts than keepsakes. You hold them close, those moments, like fragile glass ornaments from a tree long taken down, wondering if one wrong touch will shatter them all. But mothers, we don't shatter easy. We smile through the cracks, mend what we can, and keep walking forward, even when the path blurs with unshed tears. Let me take you back now, gentle as turning the pages of an old photo album, to the beginning of it all. Before the wedding vows and the drifting silences, before the accident that brought me rushing back only to be sent away soft. Back to when the world was smaller, wrapped in the walls of a little house on Maple Street, where the floors creaked like old friends and the air always smelled of fresh bread baking. It was there, in that house with the blue shutters Tom and I painted together one rainy weekend, that our story started. I was 28 when I met him, Tom with his easy laugh and calloused hands from the factory line. We'd crossed paths at the county fair, me behind the cotton candy stand, spinning pink clouds that stuck to everything, him at the grill, flipping burgers with a grin that made the smoke curl sweeter. "Ellen," he'd called over the sizzle, wiping his brow with the back of his arm, "you turn that sugar into magic. Care to share the spell?" We'd talked till the crowds thinned, shared a stolen funnel cake under the stars, the lights of the Ferris wheel painting our faces in reds and blues. Married 6 months later in a simple ceremony in my parents' backyard, mason jars filled with daisies lining the aisle, his mother's lace doilies as our tablecloths, vows exchanged under an oak tree heavy with summer leaves, promises whispered close, in sickness, in health, through every storm. The reception was laughter and lemonade, neighbors dancing on the grass till fireflies came out like living lanterns. David arrived 9 months later, a summer baby, born in the heat of July with a wail that filled the delivery room like a promise. 8 pounds even, with a tuft of dark hair and eyes that opened wide, searching. Tom held him first, cradling that tiny bundle against his chest, tears tracing lines down his stubbled cheeks. "Look what we made, Elle, our perfect boy." We named him David Thomas, after my quiet grandfather who farmed the back acres with hands steady as roots. Bringing him home to that house on Maple, the crib we'd assembled, crooked but sturdy, the world felt full, brimming over. Mornings became our sacred time, Tom up before dawn, coffee perking strong and black on the stove, the rich scent pulling me from sleep. He'd scoop David from his bassinet, bounce him gentle on one knee while I shuffled in, robe tied loose, to fry eggs in the cast-iron skillet. The sizzle mixed with David's coos, Tom's low chuckle as he made faces, cross-eyed monsters, silly tongue out, that had our boy giggling till his cheeks flushed pink. "He's got your smile," Tom would say, passing the baby over for a feed, his hand lingering warm on my shoulder. Evenings unwound slow, baths in the sink, water sloshing warm, David's toes kicking splashes that soaked our shirts. Then the couch ritual, all three piled under a quilt Tom's mom had stitched, him reading from the newspaper comics like grand adventures, and then the tiger said, "Roar no more." David's head heavy on my lap, thumb tucked safe in his mouth, breaths evening into sleep as the clock ticked soft on the mantel. Weekends were escapes. Packed lunches and the old station wagon rumbling to the lake 10 miles out. Picnics on a frayed blanket, sandwiches wrapped in wax paper, ham and cheese for Tom, peanut butter for me, mashed banana for David smeared on tiny fingers. He'd toddle along the shore, pebbles clutched in fat fists, splashing at the water's edge where it lapped gentle, sunlight shattering into diamonds on the ripples. Tom knelt patient, showing him how to skip stones. "Wrist like this, buddy. Flick and let go." The first one sank, plop, but David's laugh rang out, pure as birdsong, and we'd cheer like he'd won gold. I'd watch from the blanket, heart swelling quiet, thinking, this is it, this patchwork life, stitched with love and lake mud, it's all the wealth we'll ever need. Afternoons stretched lazy, naps under the pine trees, the air thick with pine sap and sunscreen. Tom whittling sticks into boats for David's play, me sketching their profiles in a notebook, lines soft with pencil lead. Home as dusk fell, fireflies blinking in jars like captured stars, bedtime stories from the shelf, goodnight moon with its quiet rhythm that lulled us all. Those early years wove us tight, threads of routine and wonder. David walking at 11 months, first steps wobbly across the kitchen linoleum toward Tom's open arms, both collapsing in a heap of laughter. His first words, "Mama," clear as a bell, then "Dada," chased with a grin. Christmases, simple. A tree cut from the woods behind the house, strung with popcorn garlands we made together, David's tiny hands sticky with kernels. Gifts unwrapped slow, a wooden truck Tom carved, a doll for me he'd borrowed from his sister's old box. New Year's we'd bundle out to the porch at midnight, clinking mugs of cider, David asleep on my hip, the neighborhood fireworks blooming silent overhead. Summers meant county pool days, him and arm floaties splashing with abandon while I lounged on the concrete edge, towel damp under me, Tom diving deep to emerge with water streaming, chasing David in mock monster growls. Falls brought apple picking at the orchard, baskets heavy with reds and golds, pies baked that night, crust flaky, filling, bubbling sweet. Winters, snowmen in the yard, carrot noses from the fridge crisper, scarves Tom's old ones, David's mittens caked white as he patted the belly round. Tom was the steady one, the anchor. Factory shifts long, home with grease under his nails and stories of the line, how old Mr. Jenkins sneezed into the rivets, how the new kid dropped a wrench and danced like it was hot. Dinners at the table, cloth checked red and white, Grace said with joined hands, "For this food and the hands that made it, amen." David in his high chair, peas mashed on the tray, us trading glances over his head, love unspoken but felt in the quiet. Bedtimes, Tom tucking him in, Bear flopped beside. "Sweet dreams, Captain." Then to our room, his arms pulling me close, whispers in the dark. Couldn't ask for more. And I believed it. Every night, the world outside fading to just us three. But life, it turns out, doesn't ask permission for its twists. Tom was 34 that spring, strong as ever, kissing us goodbye one Tuesday morning with an extra squeeze. "Love you both. See you at supper." The factory called at noon, voice flat on the line. Heart gave out on the line, slumped over the welder, gone before the ambulance came. I remember the phone slipping from my hand, clattering to the floor. David's crayons scattered bright around it like fallen confetti. He was 3, playing on the rug, looking up with those wide eyes. "Mama? Where Daddy?" I knelt, pulled him to my chest, his small body warm and confused against mine. He's with the stars now, baby, watching us always." The days blurred after. Funeral in the church with a steeple that chimed hours. Tom's casket pine smooth. David's tiny suit stiff and black. Neighbors with casseroles stacked in the fridge, their hugs lingering too long, pity in their eyes like weights. Nights alone in that bed, the sheets cold on his side, me tracing the empty pillow till dawn, prayers whispered raw. Please, not him too, not our boy. We moved through it, David and I, one breath at a time. The house felt bigger, echoes in the halls where laughter used to bounce. Insurance money stretched thin, rent, groceries, the cribs still standing empty in the corner. I took full shifts at the library, shelving romancers and mysteries under fluorescent lights that buzzed like distant bees, fingers tracing spines worn soft by other hands. David stayed with Mrs. Hargrove next door, her kitchen always scented with oatmeal cookies baking, her lap a safe harbor for his questions. "Daddy coming back?" he'd ask, and she'd pat his hair, glance my way when I picked him up at dusk. I'd scoop him then, bury my face in his curls that smelled of vanilla and chalk dust from her stories. Soon as you eat your peas, champ. Dinner's late, soup from cans heated on the stove, bread toasted golden under the broiler. We'd sit at the table, just 2 chairs pulled close, knees almost touching, and talk. About his day, the block tower that reached the sky, the goldfish in class that swam lazy circles. I drew you one, Mommy. Crayon scribbles of blue waves and stick figure us, Daddy a yellow sun above. I'd tape them to the fridge, where they layered like a mosaic of healing. Kindergarten came that fall, the bus yellow and hulking at the curb. David in new sneakers, backpack sagging heavy with supplies, laces I'd tied double-knotted. I walked him to the steps, hand in his small one, heart hammering like it was me starting over. Be brave, my love. I'll be here when the bell rings. He nodded, solemn, climbed up with a wave that tore at me. That first afternoon, he burst off the bus, cheeks flushed from recess wind, paper crown from show and tell clutched in fist. I was king, Mom. Hugs fierce, backpack dumped, stories over milk and graham crackers. Homework started simple. Letters traced fat on newsprint, numbers counted on fingers. I'd sit beside, pencil guiding his, praising each loop of an E. Bedtimes stretched longer, storms rattling windows, bringing him padding to my door, blanket trailing like a cape. Can I stay, Mama? It's scary. Always yes, his head on my pillow, arms slung over, breath sinking with mine till morning light crept in. Money was a quiet worry. Bills stacked on the sideboard like unanswered letters. Thrift store finds for clothes, jeans patched at knees with embroidered flowers, shirts handed down from cousins. Birthdays lean but loved. His 4th, a cake from the mix box, chocolate with 7 candles, 1 extra for luck. Gift, a storybook of trains chugging adventures. We read it that night, his finger tracing tracks on the page, imagination filling the gaps. Holidays adapted. Thanksgiving, turkey small, sides from cans, but the table set pretty with Tom's old linens. Grace said slow, for family near and far. Christmas, tree trimmed sparse, ornaments, glass balls from the attic, strung with tinsel we'd saved. David hung the star crooked, eyes shining at the glow. Santa knows our house, right, Mom? He does, baby. He always finds his way. Those years molded us, resilience like clay fired slow. David grew curious, questions bubbling. Why no daddy at pickup? I'd kneel to his level, smooth his brow. He's here, in the wind that pushes your swing high, in the stars we count at night. Playdates filled afternoons, neighbor kids tumbling in the yard, mud pies baked in the sandbox. I'd watch from the porch, lemonades sweating in glasses, laughter a balm. Evenings, baths drawn hot, bubbles foaming high, toy boats sailing wars he narrated grand. Tucked in after, prayers simple. God bless Mommy, bless me, bless Daddy in heaven. Sleep came, house settling sighs, me in the rocker by his door, knitting scarves from yarn sales, thoughts wandering to Tom, to what ifs softened by gratitude for this boy, my anchor now. School deepened the rhythm. 1st grade, teacher notes home. David's a thinker, quiet but kind. Recess stories at dinner, kickball goals, shared lunches with Timmy who had 2 moms. They're nice, like you. I'd smile, pass the carrots. Friends make the world bigger. Library story hours on Saturdays, him cross-legged on the rug, rapped as I read aloud, where the wild things are, voices pitched wild. Home with borrowed books, flashlight under covers, whispers of plots till eyes drooped. Sports tried, t-ball, glove swallowing his hand, bases run enthusiastic but sideways. Games on fields dewy, me on bleachers with thermos, cheering soft when he caught a pop fly once. Pure joy. Did you see, Mom? I did it. Ice cream after, cones dripping, victory sweet. Challenges came gentle. Bully in 2nd grade, lunch money snatched. David home tear-streaked, uniform rumpled. He said I'm poor 'cause no dad. Heart cracked, but I held steady. Ice cream for dinner, talk long. Rich is what we have. Love, laughs, each other. That's treasure. Next day, walked him in, spoke calm to the teacher, watched from afar as he stood tall, shared his sandwich instead. Pride swelled, quiet. Health scares small, chicken pox itchy, fever dreams where I'd sponge his brow, sing lullabies low till dawn. You're my nurse, Mom. Recovered stronger, pox scars, faint badges. By 8, independence flickered. Bike rides solo to the park, helmet strapped tight, my porch vigil till dusk. Be home by streetlights, he'd wave, pedals pumping free. Friends' houses for play, sleepovers rare but magic. Tents pitched in the living room, ghost stories by lantern. I'd drop him, hug extra, pick up Dawn with pancakes waiting. School projects grand, volcano from baking soda and vinegar, eruption foamy, kitchen a mess, but cheers loud. We make science, Mom. Money eased slightly. My raise at the library, odd jobs typing for the vet. Allowed extras. Family zoo trip, giraffes' long-necked wonders. David's sketchbook filled. I'll draw 'em all. Home, fridge art gallery expanded. Summers, camps short. Nature week, badges for knots and fires. Pickup tales endless. I found a frog, Mom. Named him Hopper. Kept in a jar by his bed. Released gentle next day. Tom's absence lingered in holidays. Shadows soft. Father's Day cards to heaven. Balloons loosed with messages tied. Love you, Dad. Father's shadow in David's chin dimple. Laugh lines starting. I'd trace old photos, albums dusted, stories shared. Your dad built that swing, strong as his hugs. David listening close, piecing his father from fragments. Middle school shifted tides. David taller, voice cracking mid-sentence. Braces, silver flashes. Girls noticed. Dances awkward in gymnasiums strung with crepe. I'd iron shirts crisp. Cologne spritzed light. You'll shine, son. Home late, tie askew. Debriefs over cocoa. Her name's Lily. She smiled back. Pride mixed with pang. My boy, venturing. Clubs joined, debate, words sharp as his wit. Tournaments, me an audience, notes scribbled proud. Wins celebrated with diners, fries crisp. Losses soothed with, next time's yours. He'd lean, thanks, Mom. Grades honors track, AP classes, thick books. Study sessions, kitchen, flashcards flipped. Anatomy's gross, he'd grown. Laughter over diagrams. Extracurriculars piled. Yearbook staff, photos snapped candid. Home prints developed, albums added. Social whirl. Proms, dresses rented for girls he dated brief. Nervous, confessed pre-dance. Dance like no one's watching, advice. Home with boutonniere wilted. Stories of punch spills, slow dances held. Money steadier. My promotion to assistant manager. Shelves to desk. Allowed car for him at 16. Old sedan reliable. Driving lessons, park lots, white-knuckled passenger. Ease on gas. Freedom earned, responsibility matched. Summer's jobs. Him lifeguard pool, whistle shrill. Me library overtime. Evenings grills backyard, burgers charred perfect, corn buttered. Talks deep. Future colleges, cities dreamed. You'll soar, but roots here. Nods, stars overhead. College applications fall senior year. Essays poured heart. About you and Dad, he shared vulnerable. Read aloud, voice steady, tears mine silent. It's truth, son, beautiful. Acceptances spring. State school 2 hours, scholarship gold. Celebration pizza, cheese stringy, hugs long. Proud beyond words. Packing day June heat, boxes labeled scrawl. Dorm stark, bed bunked. Unload sweat, jokes. Top bunk for you, king. Roommate Jake, handshake firm. Quad walk, leaves whispering early fall. Call nightly? Promise, Mom. Goodbye hug, arms Tom strong. Drive home, radio low. House, hollow echo. College calls, first weeks daily. Voices tinny excitement. Classes, cafeteria food, mystery meat. Visits, breaks, laundry loads, stories face to face. Thanksgiving, him home, table full again. Missed your turkey. Laughter, pie shared. Sophomore year, Sarah entered. Study group, lit class. She quotes poetry like breathing. First meet, break, tulips in hand, ponytail swing. Dinner tentative, then flow. Her tales, small town, love words. Your mom's warm as her stories, to David later. Bond sparked, me included. Dating steady, weekends hers. Calls, her voice chiming in. Hi, Ellen. Care packages, granola, notes encouraging. Engage spring, ring gold, simple. Dawn call, joy crackling. Help plan? Tears happy. First dance mine. Planning months, calls daily, Sarah, me. Venue, barn, river, lights twinkle. Dress fittings, lace, white, pins, gentle. Angel, I said. Cake, berries, vanilla. Invite script, mine. David pace, rain? Dance in it. Day clear, sky endless. Yard chairs, pedal, aisle. Guests, kin, neighbors. Me, blue dress, pearls, Tom. Altar, David's suit, hands twist. Sarah, veil float. Dad, arm. Vows, all weathers. Kiss, cheers. Reception, tables laden, band slow. Dance, first, theirs, close. Me next, waltz old. Thanks, Mom. Sarah join, trio sway. Toast, new beginnings. Clink, smiles. Honeymoon, drive, cans rattle, waves fade. Clean petals, memories linger. Good, so good. Post-wedding, blur, cards, calls. Apartment, city buzz. Visits plan, postpone, work. Packages, cookies, socks, notes. Christmas, trio, tree, trim. Ornaments, childhood. Star hung, lights, Sarah. Turkey stories, eggnog warm. Snow, fall, hope, nest. But shadows crept. Calls short, busy love. Texts, emojis, flat. Posts, hers, dinners, hikes. Me untagged. Scroll late, ache, pinch. Spring birthday missed, flew. Cake solo, candle wish closeness. Summer barbecue decline, deadline. Grill alone, smoke curl. Fall wall built. Monthly weather. Drove surprise, pie warm. Locked note left, reply week later, thanks. Hurt, water, stone. Night's room old, trophies dust. Wrong, clingy. Tears pillow. Morning's tea wait. Winter package, scarf, wool, lavender. Note, miss you. Called, voicemail, see you? Silence days. Thanksgiving, can't, flew. Turkey one, TV drone. Dishes, suds, pop. Christmas, tree lights, hope. Cookies mailed tin. Text, yum. No call. Fire, gas, carols, catless. New Year tea, toast, better. Spring thaw, bulbs green. Mother's Day, card, store, wonderful. Signed both his hand. Message, flowers nice. None. Summer heat, picnic, lake, work trip. Ducks fed, sandwich soggy. Family squeal, heart pinch. Fall fair, cotton candy, sticky. Text photo, wish here. Dots, nothing. Forgetting, fact, indifference. Friends, envy, calls weekly, space. Void, echo. Insomnia, night, kitchen, moon, silver. Drawer, Tom's watch, stopped. What do? Wind, scratch. Then call, David, strain. Leg healing? Come? Bag hasty, drive, billboards blur. Door ajar, him couch, cast, face drawn. Sarah kitchen, eyes red. Ellen, hug loose. Coffee bitter, sit, what's? Look, her, nod. Since wedding hard. Pressure, job, bills. Deeper depression, shadow dad. Wedding trigger.
perfect husband, push you, protect. Sarah, alone better, broke more. Truth heavy, fear hiding, tears mine, here hard too, hugs long, talk dark, fears shared, mine empty. Dawn, help meals, therapy, drives. David, work light coming. Sarah, group support, stitches slow. Dinners 3, laughter tent. Wedding dance? Chuckle scar. Cast off, walks together. Truth hurt, healed. Love shadows, sun, weight share, strength.